find myself needing to breathe, like when I'm listening to James, whether you're speaking it, but I remember that from the book as well. Like, okay, breathe. And so, and I think it speaks to how, again, like how you evoke that emotional resonance um, through the characters in the reader that creates this sort of shared human connection of you know the experience.
Yeah. It's I need the breath too sometimes. So two things. First of all, in Smoke and Glass, we're going back and forth between these two narrators over multiple scenes, multiple years. And when Susan and I were working on the layout of the book, Sue very astutely said, look, girl, you cannot just go from like one narrative to then like this one line that says, James Corinthia 2007, and then like go to Joel, and then like you can't, like, you got to give the reader a little bit of space to breathe. And it is true, like I didn't necessarily buy into it until we got the first proof copy, and then I was like, oh yeah, thank God. Like when you read it out, like you do need that breath. So imagine then like going right from that and then suddenly you're back in Joel's voice. Like it is like a bit of an emotional roller coaster. And the other thing I wanted to add is Amy texted me in the or chat said in the chat to me privately. She said, "You do have this thing in common with James, and that's his boy." And so that is true. Like I should maybe speak a little bit to that, which is, so obviously I have a son. He's 18 now, so he's not a little boy. But I certainly remember what it was like having him, and there are both, I think Henry in particular in Smoke and Glass. I mean, there are children in I Too Have Suffered in the Garden as well, very briefly when Joel and Adam are sort of playing at adopting, and then the Adam's nieces and nephew. I don't think there's any in The Crossing. Oh, I guess in James's little sister in The Crossing. And I like the sort of breath of fresh air that the children bring, but I really feel that with Henry. Like those scenes are they're easy for me to write. It's not that the other scenes are hard for me to write, but there's something that I'm like relating to in those scenes as well. Like very easy, very simply. Like I remember what it's like to have like that infant in my arms. I remember what it's like to build a fort and crawl inside and read books. I remember what it's like to have something kind of waiting for me. Like there's that scene towards the end of the book where, there's like something waiting for James downstairs, and he's like just come back from Houston, and he just wants to get downstairs, and his kid won't go to sleep, and he's like lying there next to him, and he's like his tension, his kid is feeling his tension. Like I remember the way all of that feels. um and at the same time, like, yeah, I guess I like the kids. I mean, I like kids in general. Like I have one, and then also I teach writing workshops for mostly girls. Like I like being around them.